Okay, folks, let's watch some more rainbows, such as they are. This journal is from February 14th, the first of that day. And there's another one I'll be recording that went after this one. Okay. I'm fading away, losing interest somehow in 3D. Is that happening to you at all? I know it is to some because they write to me or in the comments. They tell me, oh my God, I thought there was something wrong with me. You mean it's happening to you too? We draw comfort from one another. I remember how very hard life was, or seemed to be, back when I thought it was all personal, that my problems, my issues were mine alone. I really believed it back then. We all do. It's part of the game here. With such beliefs, I crafted a huge false identity. I thought it was me. I really did. I was convinced. This is who and what I was. I had these sorts of talents and abilities. I looked this way, but not that way. And I had XYZ sort of flaws, shortcomings, la, la, la. That was me. Uh-huh. Well, no, it wasn't. It was just a jumble of thoughts and beliefs that I took to be who I was. And there was far more pain back then as well. Loads of it. Troubles, so many troubles, and no one really close to share them with. If I would, that is, if I was willing to share, to reveal my messes and woes. Well, well, well. And who am I now? Now I know it enough to at least say, I don't know, and mean it. And that's an improvement. What I notice most of all as I sit here and make this comparison, though, is how heavy and sort of thick or dense that one was. There's a certain weight of thought that it carries, hard to express. The identity I carry now is light as a feather next to that. I don't take myself seriously at all these days. Well, certainly not compared to that. Everything was so very serious back then. Things were weighty and important in my view of them. Life was important, and my spiritual path most important of all. Yet I felt pretty lost. Oh, well, I knew quite a lot. I had studied and devoted endless hours to spiritual practice and learning. And it helped a bit, but not so much. I didn't feel found. I didn't feel awake. Just getting there. Forever Getting There was the name of it. There's a darkness to the picture of that old me as well, a certain heaviness of thought. My mind wasn't free. It was a pretty good mind, but not so much in my control. Heavy, that's the main adjective I have for it. What of now? Well, look at yourself. What difference do you see between, let's say, now and 10 years ago? Take a look. Do you notice any change? Aside from maybe a few lost hairs or extra pounds, that is. Those are about as unimportant as it gets. Heck, that's not even you, you know. Maybe you didn't know that back then. Maybe you thought you were the form you carried around with you. Maybe you identified more with the mind. I didn't. Well, I knew I wasn't the mind or the form, yet still I was no prize. Well, that's not really fair. Since everything is relative here in 3D, I'm sure there are loads of people who'd be glad to change places with the me back then. I like her a lot, actually. She just took things way too seriously, especially her mind. Heavily burdened she was. Oh my God, I feel light as a feather next to that. Hey, that was better than reading old journals to realize the change. Maybe our senses are opening in new ways now. How would that be? What new sense would be able to look and assess like that? Inner vision, I guess. I don't know. ESP? There is just the sense of a certain sort of weight, a heaviness to her that doesn't relate to the poundage on a scale. She was reasonably slim, a bit lighter than the body is now, so it isn't that. There's a sense of being heavily plugged into 3D. Now, that's interesting considering even back then I was one of those least plugged in of all. I've been fairly out there all of my life. So what is different now then? There's this light as a feather thing, almost wanting to spiral spin right up and out of this dimension. There is that. Ah, now I see. There are many, many ties that have been cut, chains that used to have her bound, connections to things. Ah, ties of interest they were, of involvement in this or in that, with this one or that one over there. Now, what is a person, after all? If you add it up and get down to just the important stuff, things you'll take with you over there when you cross over, what does a person amount to? From what I'm looking at here, it seems that relationships would be a very good answer. And not just with people at all, with anything. Wow, what a thought. I'm sitting here kind of amazed. I never thought about it just like that before. Relationships. It all adding up to that. I guess in a way it actually does. The golden rule, after all, isn't about things. Then there's the little takeoff on that I saw in a Whataburger shop, a hamburger joint, that said this: things are made to be used. People are made to be loved, not the reverse. That says a lot too. Relationships, where and with whom we invest our energy, or with what. That's what I'm seeing. It's all got to do with energy usage, what color and kind of energy we surround ourselves with and we use, and how we spend that energy, what we put it into. Those are the relationships. Well, that's one way to define them. Only it's not a definition at all. It's something very visible, very tangible, only a dimension or two up. Our energy. What do we pour it into, and what is the quality of it? That's what I'm seeing is the main difference here. How about you? Are you sensing yourself from the past there? And be in heart to do this. It has so much more to offer than mine does. New ways of seeing and sensing entirely. It's really quite wonderful. It sort of talks to you, your heart does, only not in words, and it's not linear either. Instead, it's whole and complete. When it shows you something, it's packed with meaning you have to decode a bit. Give it a go. Everyone speaks the language of heart. It's not difficult. What I see when I look at her now is all those lines of relationships that have transformed. Most have been cut, but not entirely. I see the lines are still there, just transformed. They're lighter and practically invisible now. They are connections to the higher self of most people, animals, and things everywhere. When you look in 3D only, you don't see those lines. They're on the higher planes, but they're still there, just different, like I said. Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. I see her. I see Teresa, or rather, Sita, since Papa G gave her that name recently, only I see her fully active and functioning on higher dimensions. Oh, that is totally cool. I love it. How neat is that? Hey, if it's true for me, it must be true for at least some of you too. Why not all? Check it out. Wow. You can kind of see through her, but not quite. She's got some sort of substance, but it's flimsier. Higher vibrating stuff, I guess. That makes sense anyway, but I'm not looking to make sense at this point, just to report what I see. And I see that being up there working really close to 3D, to the 3D being. They're joining up. Wow. Now, if I could just feel and sense this from the 3D being, that would be totally cool. As it is, maybe I'm using some other senses or something. I don't know how this works. It's a seeing for sure. I don't know whether it's heart vision or third eye stuff or what. I don't think it's third eye since it's not like pictures. Well, it sort of is. Heck, like I said, I don't know. Just doing what I can to report. There is very little holding this one down to 3D. Now that's pretty strange to see, I can tell you. I'm consciously rejecting any sort of fear or concern over this. Things just are what they are, and I don't want to put any meaning on them. That would be mind interfering, and it doesn't know squat about these realms. It's just as new to mind as it is to me. Well, not really. This is more of a remembering, a recall, a restoration of senses we all once had. It may even have something to do with the DNA. Who knows? Not I. Not yet. Yeah, I knew it. The one thing she's connected to is the journals, the computer, and sharing that. And that's what keeps her here. There's not much else at all. Nothing that would keep her here without the journals being here too. Wow. I sensed this somehow, but it's amazing to see it this way, to have it confirmed. Wow. I don't know what else to say. This is amazing, seeing self this way. It really helps to be detached, to have already disidentified from so very much. Otherwise, I'd be scared. And that makes it easier not to flip out or have mind take me off on this or that trip into the what ifs. No thanks. It just is what it is, and that's plenty. It's enough. It's a bit spooky, but if you're up for it, just go into heart first, of course. Settle in there, then just set the intent to compare yourself from earlier, 10, 20 years ago, whatever, to who you are now. That's all. No big deal. Then just look, but from heart, not from mind. Feel into it. Get the sense of who you were. Pretty soon you should begin to sort of sense things. It's not a real or solid seeing involved. It's more etheric than that. So just keep a part of your attention anchored to your heart in the now here while you look. Look through there, sense or feel it out. And maybe keep a notebook close by. If you run into what I just did, I doubt you'll be able to record it all later after it's over. Jot down some notes and date it anyway. That's enough, unless you want to outright journal it like I do. Enjoy, my friends. Don't let anything get to you, okay? Remember, who and what you really are is divine. You can't be hurt. And you're meant to enjoy yourself. Don't forget that part. You'll find that joy within heart, not in the mind, by the way. just in case you didn't know. Good day.